All right, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, welcome to the SYN Shop podcast. I am, of course, the Mighty Pong.
I'm Mr. Jones.
Yes, and Mr. Jones is going to be joining us tonight to discuss the shop. The moment of truth is upon us. We are currently, and when I say we, I mean the people that are actually working, are at the shop right now at this very exact moment, working their tail ends off to help move us to the promised land. And I tonight will bring you a little taste of the milk and the honey of said promised land. But before we go into that, that's a build-up right there. I don't know if I can.
That's quite biblical. All right, let's bring it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can bring that one home or not, but I'm going to try. By God, as you're going to see over the next 2 hours, we are no longer located at 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C, in fabulous Henderson, Nevada. Unfortunately, that's the last time I get to say that address. Kind of a bummer. But the SYN Shop is currently closed for reconstruction, as you're going to see over the next couple hours. Now, we would like to remind you, even though we are closed to the public right now for construction, if you're in a shared space elsewhere, please make sure that you wear your mask and clean tools, surfaces, and materials before and after you use them. Stay at home as much as you can. Don't touch your face. And for the love of God, please wash your damn hands. Now, to stay updated on any kind of open status that we do have, are we still doing synshop.org/COVID status?
That's still live, and we're still keeping it up to date. We're probably going to kind of mix that information with the open status, which is basically we're close, which we'll get to a little bit later in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that URL is still active and current.
Excellent. Okay, so synshop.org/COVID status to find out the latest information on that, and to make sure that you're notified of any future events, including virtual ones, just like this, when we have them more. You can join us at meetup.com/Synshop. Now, with that, first of all, before we do anything else, I want to acknowledge the people that are busting their butts. These are the real MVPs. I'm just a dingus with a microphone over here. That's all I do. But first and foremost, of course, our fearless leader, Crux. He has been the steady guiding hand throughout this whole entire thing. He's normally the guy that resides right over there. But he's. I point the right direction. I even pointed the right direction. Ah, nice.
You did. You got it.
First try.
He's normally where I am in the Brady Bunch 6 up, 8 up, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So also, I want to thank Akeen for wading through a ton of the most boring paperwork possible and handling just about all of the financing.
And renting the forklifts and renting the truck, the stake bed, and on and on and on.
And on and on and on. Absolutely. Also, I want to thank Shape Daddy and Vegas Vic for coming up with a large part of the floor plan, which again, we're going to go over later on. And also coordinating a lot of the heavy equipment move. I think just about all of it. And then, of course, all the people who have been helping us push through the last couple of days on this project. Nuclear Mike, who's done an amazing job, which we'll probably be talking about in a future episode. Zenify, of course. Kai, McNutnut, Forge, Dragon Flames, Exhaust, Jed, Timka, Miss Jackalope, Elemental, and so many more for helping us push through the last couple of days on this thing. There's no possible way that we could have done it without our members. And of course, from everyone at the SYN Shop to everyone else at the SYN Shop, thank you from the SYN Shop to the SYN Shop and also SYN Shop. And of course, I would be remiss without mentioning our very own guest tonight, Mr. Jones, for handling all of the waiting on hold forever stuff, all the annoying calls to electric companies.
I suspect Akeen did more waiting on hold, but yes.
But you were there.
Every little bit helps, yeah.
You helped.
Well, and I think every little bit helps is what's important here, right? So we have a lot of members that are maybe like myself that don't feel comfortable with being present in the shop. And so there were offline out of shop tasks that were available. We had members like drop off stuff outside and be like, I left boxes or I left, packing supplies. Super helpful, really appreciative. And whatever you can do to help is great.
Absolutely. So, yeah, and as a matter of fact, they are down there moving right now. So if you are listening to us right now and you're like, man, I wish I could be involved, you can. 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C, in fabulous Henderson, Nevada. You can go there right at this exact moment and help people move stuff.
was texting Crux before the show. I was like, "Hey, you got any more, details about the shop?" He's like, "No, I'm busy moving." And I was like, "I'll stop bothering you." So, members are active right now, as
Yes.
Fong was saying.
Very, very active. Yes. So any help that anybody can provide, I'm sure they're going to be there well into the night as well. So,
And
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you wanted to touch on the Discord server, we have a channel for shop updates, shop move updates even.
Oh, Eardude LV asks, what is the new address? Well, I am going to tell you as soon as I find it. Oh, there it is. That would be 5967 Harrison, Suite B1 in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And we're going to be going into exactly where it is and all that stuff here shortly. I got maps loaded. I got all kinds of junk.
And for those that are impatient, synshop.org has been updated with the current address.
Yep.
And as has our documentation site, which is rtfm.synshop.org. So if you want to get a, run ahead of Pong by 15 minutes or 10 minutes, you can pull that up to see a lot of the stuff we're going to be showing on the show tonight.
That's right. But hey, for right now, for everybody else, I'm not a frog and you're not a bunny. So let's not jump ahead. No, I'm kidding. So I wanted to go over
classic.
Yeah, it's an oldie, but it's still got some miles left on it. So I wanted to before we go into where we're going, I wanted to touch briefly, and we've done a couple shows at least on this subject, but I wanted to touch briefly at least on where we've been so far. Now you did a little bit of digging before the show. Do you want to run through the history? I can do it either way.
Yeah, sure, okay. Sure. So and this was as part of the updating the content on the website. I noticed that we had some stuff from Synshop 1.0, which would be over by Fremont Street. But before that, as I think most hackerspaces start, we started in someone's garage, and it was Crux's garage, which is the little information I was able to grab from him while he was moving just now. But him and a few other folks started gathering in his garage. And then I think they realized that Mark at the time had a larger garage, if I recall. So then they're like, "Hey, Mark, nice garage." And they set up shop there. But where things really got kicked off and formalized was when we moved to the Fremont Street location, which I think I said 3rd, but it was actually on 4th, if I recall. So it was, Fremont. It was downtown. It was great space. We got a deal from the downtown project to have some presence there, and it was a storefront. So we were on very, very traffic foot accessible, very maybe amateurist, slightly inebriated, looking for change for $1 or a payphone or whatever else you might be looking for. So we actually kept the front door locked at all times, and you had to get buzzed in. But that's where, you're trying to pull up where it was? Right there in the middle of your screen. That's right.
Bingo, found it. There
Bam,
we go.
right there. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
So I think it was...
It's a jeweler's now.
Yeah,
apparently.
I don't know what's in there now, but it ultimately became a restaurant. But so that was 2011. We moved in there, and these notes say 2,800 square feet, but I feel like it was less than that. But that's when we first got the laser cutter from Full Spectrum Laser in town, which we still have and is still running strong. A couple tubes later, and we got the shop bot there, which was a tight fit in the back there, but it fit. And then up front, we had classrooms, which you could see from the street. Oh, yeah, this is the plan before we demoed and put everything up there.
When I saw this earlier, when you sent this to me originally, I was just freaking amazed that it seems like the majority of the stuff that people use is just in this room here. Yeah,
so that... I am trying to remember. It's been a while. So I don't think there were any walls there. It was kind of open workbench area. So where it says storage, that was not there. Yeah, exactly. Those east-west walls were demoed, if I recall. And the laser cutter was near the back. And then that room along the bottom was actually the shop bot, so we could have the and any other woodworking tools that were often you had to wheel about to get fit in there.
Okay.
Because things were such a tight fit. There was some parking in the back. That's right. But yeah, it was a great first spot. It was, maybe more centrally located, especially for anyone who's coming from northern Las Vegas. But ultimately, it was around 2015 when things started to look like maybe we wouldn't be able to get a lease because we were just Crux and Akeen and some of the older shop members will correct me, but I can't remember exactly. It wasn't a handshake deal, but it wasn't like we got a 5-year lease and it was all on the up and up. And
I mean,
eventually,
not squatting, but there was a lack of paperwork.
Yeah, I mean, they were looking for a community-focused place, and we were a really good match for that, right? Because we were literally working with the community. We were inviting folks in. We were leading the workshops, just like we're doing today. Yeah. Well, not so much today because we're closed down, but when the shop was open to the public. But it was in 2015 when we needed to find a new space, and Synshop 2.0 came into being, which is where we've been and where we're just closing down now.
5 seconds, and then I can and kill time.
You got another graphic?
I got.
Oh, there we are.
There you go.
Outside. Okay. Yeah. So this was the. The Google Maps view. Lovely. Oh, there's the Google Maps car.
Yeah. I mean, sweet. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is where we have been located for the past 5 years, and that's actually. I came into the scene or came into the shop. I think like probably about a few months. I think after you had gotten there, or like 6 months, something like that.
Okay. So early 2016.
Yeah, I've never seen the pony wall. So.
Oh, okay, yeah, because when we moved in, that whole front area was an office, and there was like a 3.5-foot pony wall there that we demoed. And if you go and help pack up, you can see along the carpet, there's a little carpet repair we did to patch that hole.
Actually, here.
But we didn't actually do that much to the space. Oh yeah, here's the walkthrough you recorded earlier.
Now this it didn't always look like this. This is mid move, just so you know.
Right. Yeah, I was actually going to go and backfill. I think the Synshop 2.0 spot on RTFM on the website. So we have some more vivacious pictures of when things were put together.
Yeah.
But that's the old 3D print room and the server rack there that was there.
Yep.
And we'll get to what the new version of this is going to be for Synshop 3.0 in a bit.
Right.
And the server rack came, I think, a good year later, if I recall. Can't remember. The old craft room here.
So now I don't know why, what exactly happened in how do I want to put this? Basically, for us as a group, we kind of hit the right mix of the current space not being exactly what we want, and also it just so happened to match up with the end of our lease. And just some extremely benevolent member contributions as well, and I kind of was the perfect storm, sort of, pandemic notwithstanding, for us to find another place and head somewhere else. So yeah, this is as of this morning. Now they are currently, like I said again, they are currently there working their tail off. That was the metal working area. The welding area is completely gone. Well, there's the kiln still. Yeah.
Definitely moving around, prioritizing, being able to load things up. There's the new laser.
That's the old
cutter.
laser. That's the new one, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, as far as build out on the Synshop 2.0, we're moving out of. We didn't have that much to do. We had to get some permits to cut a hole for ventilation for the laser cutter, so we weren't venting it out the roll-up door. Which is probably what will happen in the new shop, depending how fast we can get set up. And things firmed up, I feel like, in the first 18 months. I remember going with Bill and Crux to one of the casinos to score those lockers that we got donated from a show. I think it was Blue Man Group that was moving.
It was Blue Man Group, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, they're moving to, they're at the Luxor now, is that right?
I haven't left my house since March.
I just moved. But this is like 4 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That they moved. So, but I don't keep tabs on what shows are where and whatnot.
No. Yeah. Same. Well, so yeah, and you know, frequent viewers of the show might remember that we did a show similar to this regarding the place on Escondido, and that ended up not being as good for us as this current place. I mean, for one, we will be the actual owners of it, which is a completely different scenario than us having to pay rent to a landlord. So that's gonna be awesome, and that's gonna allow us to do a lot of cool stuff for our members. And all that stuff. So I guess let me jump over to the new place here, and we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I think maybe you should lead on this because actually I haven't even been here. You have.
Oh yeah. Okay, and I got some video from that as well. But yeah, so basically well, actually, you know what? Let me do this. I'm gonna flip back. We're there. Okay. So this is. this is where we're going to be at. We are going to be, as you can see, right close to the airport. Now, currently we are right about here. You can see my mouse, I'm pretty sure. No, you can't. Let me move that over. Now you can. We're right about there. That's where we were just showing you. So this is here's the McCarran Airport, and over here's the Las Vegas Strip. So if you're coming in town for convention, we are the proverbial and jump right over there to beautiful downtown Las Vegas. Well, that's not downtown Las Vegas, but beautiful downtown Clark County ish, and 5967 Harris Drive. But yeah, so that's where it is. Now I'm going to flip back to here, and then we're going to go over to this, and now we're going to flip back to there. Look at me. One man production house. Now this is what the inside of the building looks like. Now, we talked last week when we had Thomas Tusano on here a little bit about this. There's some things that have changed slightly. For one, this was originally going to be the metalworking area here. Let me grab my little highlighter dealy bopper. Highlighter. Yep, there we go. Okay. So this area right here is going to get completely torn out. Currently, there's a room back there. And the original thinking was that woodworking would go in there, but that, so again, hats off to Shape Daddy and to Vegas Vic, because they have done an amazing job of figuring out how to fit, 30 pounds of shop in a 5-pound bag. When one of the ways that they're doing this is they're taking these walls completely out, and that's going to add on greatly to our shop space, which is here. So this is basically the dirty shop area, and up here is everything that we want to keep clean on the other side of this wall. So with that said, what that's going to allow us to do is now in last week's show, we were talking about how this area up here was originally going to be the laser cutter, and that's because we've got double doors up here, up in the front, right? So since, well, actually we have single doors, but we're going to make those into double doors. Instead of doing that though, what we're going to do is we're going to take this wall completely out, and we're going to put the double doors in here, right? What that's going to allow us to do is have a much easier way of venting all the nasty laser fumes to the outside world.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Good thinking, efficient.
Right?
So 13 and 14
are going to become one.
Conjoined, right?
Yep.
And then 12 is crafts room is what it's labeled there.
Yep.
Nice.
And then electronics is going to be over, on the other side of the room. This is going to be where the computer room and admin stuff is, so the 3D printer people don't have to share a room with the servers anymore.
And is the electronics room big enough to fit all the benches that we have? It feels like it might be a bit small. It looks like it is 15 by 9 or whatever. Something
like that, yeah. It is smaller, but honestly, I think we've got, and that's one of the things that we'll touch on in a little bit, but one of the things that is great about this shop is that because it's smaller, it's going to force us to get rid of a lot of junk. We're going to have a real Marie Kondo moment. If things don't spark a joy, then it's got to go.
Bring joy. Yeah. Speaking of space, I don't think we touched on the space change, the square footage change from the 2.0 to 3.0 where we're moving to.
Yeah.
We're at about 5,000 at the American Pacific shop that they're moving out of tonight, and the new shop that we're looking at on screen right now is 3,500. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's you mentioned we're reducing space and we need to find all the things that bring us joy, and chuck out the window the other stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
I saw in Discord that there was a whole bunch of wood scrap that's just being donated that I'm guessing also, it may have even been moved from 1.0 to 2.0. We're like, we're not moving it again.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's going to be really good ultimately. In fact, we're actually talking about adding on a couple of things that we don't have today. For example, we've been talking a little bit about, let's see. Yeah, well, I'm totally jumping ahead, but I'm going to go ahead. But we've been talking a little bit about having additional areas like in electronics, setting up like a Eurorack station or
all right.
And there's even been discussions. These are not what's going to happen. This is all
old Pong accountable is what he's saying.
No, the exact opposite.
I know.
Hold me accountable for nothing. But there have been discussions around a potentially even cooking class.
Oh,
which I think.
So would we do that like in the hotworks area, or would we just do like a stovetop or a countertop like hot plates?
Discussions are happening.
All right, I like it.
We'll see. I promise nothing, but I think that's a great idea because honestly, when you think about it, all cooking is chemistry.
Man, hacking is any which way you bring it. You know what I mean? Like the difference between laser cutting and woodworking and cooking and whittling with your pocket knife.
Yep.
It's all good, man. Bring it. That's great.
Yeah,
Plus, it's also what the community wants. If there's folks that are wanting to lead a class, because we, have teach a class at the shop again when we're open to the public, but not right now.
Yep.
That there's a class that fills up that's cooking. Let's take that and run with it. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Yeah.
And I see also on the list is maybe a podcast studio.
Yes, that has been discussed. Now, I have a feeling that that's probably going to wait a good long while because we're going to probably need to build like a space on this. There is, so you might notice these stairs right here. Mm-hmm. Someone at some point in the shop's history has built something on the second floor, and there's not supposed to be a second floor.
Oh, in the new shop's location.
In the new shop's location. So we're going to take that out completely. That's got to go. It's not
safety first.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're going to be getting rid of that. But there's nothing that says that later on we couldn't put something there that's actually built right. So, so if that happens, or, we might end up doing it in the common area at some point again, later on down the road. But yeah, this area in the center here is going to be completely taken out. So this is going to be one giant classroom. And the thing I really like about that is you're going to have your own place, your own little cubby, for electronics and 3D printing and the crafts area and all that stuff. But you can still look right through the windows at the main area here and see, and you're still a part of things. You're not off in a corner somewhere. You're still a part of things if you're, if you're in one of these rooms. And I think that's really cool. Like, the 3D printing people, they can watch, they can keep an eye on their stuff, but still be, somewhat engaged with the people that are in the common area. So
yeah, because right now the 3D print room has a little window in there that you can kind of see through, but not really.
Yeah, exactly.
In the 2.0 shop.
Yep.
Speaking of jumping around, we did kind of jump around a bit, but where do we need to get back to stay on track?
Oh, we're fine. Let's see. We were talking about the area. Oh, yeah. So I did want to show, I guess, while we're talking here about the old stuff, this is what the new shop looks like as of early this morning. And now this is, again, I'm sure this is completely different. I'm sure there's a lot more stuff in it at this point. Good grief. But yeah, this is what it looked like as of this morning. There's the kitchen area there.
Oh, okay.
So
we're going to demo all the walls that are behind us right now, so it's open to the classrooms?
The other way. The walls that you're looking at right now, this is the electronics room.
Okay.
If you're following along with the thing. This looks incredible. I'll be at the first open house. Good night. Well, hey, have a good night here, dude. I'll catch you later. But yeah, so that's a little bit more of that. There's a shot of my pants. I don't know why.
Because there's glass under there. Yeah. The reflections off.
So that wall there is going to be gone. This desk here is also going to be gone. We're going to be replacing that with our lockers.
Okay.
Yep. And then that room.
That's where we're not putting in a double wide door.
We are not. That is correct.
We're not.
Well, we are, but not there.
Right. We're putting it to the back of the shop so we can ferry in large equipment like paper cutters.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Oh, and then I put some more stuff, like still pictures at the end of it. Yeah, the stuff to the left on that last one, that's what's going to be gotten rid of. Gotten rid of. That's what's going to be demolished, is a better way to put that. As they say here on Earth, that's what we will demolish. But yeah, so let's see. Going back to that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so while we've got that playing there, I did want to talk to you. Well, actually, first of all, let me just do a quick recap. We're talking here with Mr. Jones, a longtime member of the shop, and the SYN Shop is currently moving from our old location to the new location that you see up there on the screen. And we're just kind of talking a little bit about a little bit of the history of the shop. It's kind of well-treaded ground, but we're going to go ahead and tread it just a little bit more. And also just kind of an update on the status of the shop and what in the heck is going on. So now, as a longtime member, so now you were there in the beginning with the being in someone's garage days, right?
I don't quite get grandfathered in that far back. I saw that in the show notes, but
okay.
No, it was a pretty small crew back then. I think Fish was there, and I think James was there, and Crux, of course. And Mark, obviously, because we were in his garage. But no, I didn't go to the SYN Shop until 2.0. 1.0 back near Fremont.
Okay.
And it was one of the crypto parties that drew me to the shop.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I very much enjoyed those. And so that would have been 2012-ish, maybe 2013, early 2013. So they had been at that location for a good 2 years by then, by the time I got in with the shop at that location.
Nice. Okay. So you were definitely there for the move from version 1.0 to 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like when you had to when you were moving from Fremont Street to our location in Henderson? How did that change like the general like vibe of the shop? Like did going from a place that was just completely slammed with tourists all the time to a place that was kind of like off by itself in an industrial park? How did that change the shop? Like how did that affect things?
Oh, it's interesting. The vibe of the shop at first felt a little sterile because we hadn't really moved in. We hadn't really made it ours, like there's a lot of imagery around the new shop, well, the then new shop 2.0, with the sign that Crux and Forge made, right, with that beautiful curved metal that they spent forever not cutting their fingers on and screwing the bulbs into and whatnot. More friendly, more cozy, more hackerspace like. And for sure, we totally lost some shop members when we moved, right? Because with the location before, if you were up in Northwest or if you were in Summerlin, it was not that far to get to the shop. But moving basically way far south in the valley down to Henderson, it was a haul. And I know we lost some members, and it was a tough call to make, right? You don't want to alienate your members. Sure, there's the lost membership, but more importantly, we feel like we try to be a community facility, and you lose part of your community.
How do you? So then, do you see that now? Just to give people a kind of an idea of why I say this, I just want to show again. Oh, that didn't go well at all. There we go. I just wanted to show again where the shop is in relation to everything else. Let me go ahead and throw that back up on the screen. Thusly, yeah. Okay, so like I was saying before, the current location is down here, right? Down by the fabulous Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles. That's where the shop is currently. And now you can see that that's really in the corner of Las Vegas. I mean, that is well in the corner down there. And this is, still pretty south, but it's kind of, like being right next to the airport, it's a little bit more centrally located. So I'm wondering, do you think that we're going to start to see, a different clientele, a different, how do you see that affecting the, general vibe and stuff of the shop?
Well, I feel like we're going to be a lot more accessible for, for the con season, right? When DEF
Mm,
CON comes to town, when B-Sides comes to town, it was a much bigger haul to get over to us. Certainly with DEF CON. B-Sides not so much, because B-Sides normally held the Tuscany Suites, which is pretty far north,
mm.
relatively speaking. Though I guess not. It's just north of UNLV, isn't it? Which
Yeah,
is
that's right by the testing museum, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's UNLV. Yeah, that's like,
Yeah, so
you
I
could
think it's
walk
just
there.
a couple. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to, but you
but
could.
we didn't pick the location because of the location. We picked the location because of the location and because of the space and because we could afford it. And a lot of things that I, am not privy to because I'm not on the board and I'm not in Crux and Akeen's Head and all the other board members, Jed, that were doing so much more work than I did on this. So just from my, very subjective viewpoint, hopefully we'll get more of the cons. Foot traffic isn't really a thing in Vegas,
No, it's not.
unless you're like on the strip. It's a driving town, it's a taxi town, it's a Lyft town, it's an Uber town.
It is.
So, but we're, if you're at the airport and you're like, well, it's 10 minutes to the strip this way, 10 minutes to SYN Shop. Let's go hit up SYN Shop on the way into town.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And hopefully for people that live here, which is our bread and butter, which is, what we're really here for, we'll be able to get some folks back. There was a guy on Discord who said, I used to love coming down to the Fremont Street location. I'm so glad you're moving closer to me. I was like, oh, well, thanks for waiting for 5 years. It was really, really courteous of you.
Yeah. I'll just hang out here. They'll move eventually.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll wait. They'll come back.
It's
They
fine.
always do.
Yeah. They always come back. That's funny. Yeah. So I do wonder about that too, because it's not like we're on a major thoroughfare, but we are definitely in a different part of town than the one we'll be moving to. We can where's that? We can drop by the Future Stars of Wrestling.
I saw that on the map.
So if you want to learn how to wrestle, what you can do is you can stop by the SYN Shop right over here, and start a 3D print. Then you can go down here and start wrestling. Maybe afterwards pick up a easy chair, something like that, and then come back and pick up your print and head on home, sit in your easy chair.
But more practically speaking, we are close to Lowe's and to Home Depot, right?
You're no fun, but yes, looks like it is right there relative to the shop. Okay, over here. Yeah, there we go. So, and there's Home Depot right there. Yeah.
It's, we'll find out.
We will find out. Oh, another thing that we'll find out, all kinds of other stuff in the post game. I forgot to mention that at the top of the hour. So, the show that you're watching right now is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. So if you're watching this right now, welcome to tomorrow. Welcome to Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. But if you are watching this on Twitch, we're going to a whole nother hour after the main hour. So that's going to start at the bottom of the hour. A lot of times that I said hour in that sentence, but it was unavoidable, I promise you. But at any rate, we will be having that shortly. That is only for people who are watching us on twitch.tv/Synshop. So if you are watching us on YouTube next week, stop by. Also, on Monday night, we're going to have our first special guest to the Monday night project stream. Let's see, what is Exhaust on the Discord is going to be joining us, and we are going to be. So we both got the Spark Punk Atari sound generator kit from the SYN Shop, and so we both built one. He's already modded his, and I'm going to be modding mine. I got the Amazon package just today, and I ordered it a couple days ago before I knew there was a Black Friday boycott. But at any rate, I ordered it before that. I got it shipped to me today. I did not break the boycott. Anyway, so the package did arrive today, and I will be putting all that stuff together on the Monday night show. Be there. So oh, the new shop. We didn't mention the laser cutter. This is going to be cool. All right, so there's cool. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff about the shop that I just cannot wait for. Here, let me show you this bad boy. This guy right here. Let me show you its features. Yeah. This bad boy. This is the Pro Series PS48, and it has been sitting under a sheet in the back of the old shop for most of this year, if I remember right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Now you can't tell from looking at it, but this thing is giant. You can fit that. That isn't that. I believe that is 4 feet across. Is that the print area is 4 feet across?
So I was talking with Jed,
Mm-hmm.
who used to run this at his shop, and then we got it from him, and he said it's that I think the wider side is that front opening that we're looking at,
Yep.
and it's about 47 and a half, and then about 35 deep. But you can feed through, for example, you and I were talking before the show, a big piece like a 4x8 sheet.
Yeah.
So it can't cut or engrave across all that. So you'd have to carefully set your registration marks or whatever. But you could, more importantly, get a big piece like that in. Whereas on the current laser cutter, we're limited to, I think, 22 wide. Is that right?
It's what is it? It's 18 by 24.
By 24. And the operating window, that 24 is like you can get a piece that's 24 in, but you can't quite go edge to edge.
Yeah.
So this will open up a lot more pieces of material to get in there to cut with and engrave. And the other thing we're getting is another 60 watts of power. We're going up from 90, 95 watts on the smaller one. This one is 150 watts.
Nice.
So we're not going to be cutting anything like aluminum, but we can cut a lot more quicker. So stuff, if you're cutting like 3/4 inch acrylic, may have to do 2 or 3 passes. Now you probably can do 1 or 2 passes.
That'll be
so
nice.
Faster, powerful.
Yeah,
it'll be awesome.
Bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
Heavy is good. Heavy sign of reliability. If it doesn't work, you can hit them with it. All right.
This is also full spectrum laser. The same company that we have our existing one from, which means not only is it the same shop that's in town here, but also the same software, the Retina Engrave software that runs on the old one will run on the new one. Some people hate it. Everyone that uses the old one will know how to use the new one.
You like it?
I like it. It's what I know.
Okay. You know what?
Some members may have checked out the Muse, which we had up and running for a little bit, which is supposed to be like fancier software.
For one brief shining moment, it was nice.
It was.
And then it wasn't. And it never was again.
Yeah.
I think the last time it worked. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like there was a little bit of, like, we didn't do good maintenance on it, and a little bit of, like, there was a part we needed to replace that we needed to get from Full Spectrum or something. And so, Full Spectrum was trying to help us along. There was like a firmware update we needed to do, and we needed to, there was a firewall issue where they needed direct access to the internet. We're like, they don't do that. Security. I don't know. I don't really know what happened to it.
Yeah. It was some general weirdness. And such.
But you don't like the Retina Engrave, or you do?
I'm not a fan. I've had so many times where it's like, no, I've got plenty of room. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you're gonna need to move to the side a little bit. Okay, fine. Now you need to move to the other side. No, I don't. It's fine. Just go. But anyway, so that is one of the cool things. Like having the ability to have that gigantic laser cutter in there, and for the because right now where the laser cutter is kind of off by its little by its lonesome somewhere, and having it there is kind of like you're off in your own little corner. Here you can be in the same room as like the 3D printing stuff. It's nice.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and I assume we're gonna have the 2 workstations that we have in the 3D printing room in there as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll have no less than 4 workstations in there. So as far as right now, COVID,
probably
too many people.
Probably 2.
Post COVID, having 4 people in there seems nice and social.
Yeah.
Plus, as you mentioned, all the rooms that are circumnavigating the common area, you just pop right out and you're in whatever's going on there.
Absolutely.
Folks hanging out.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be great. I love like we mentioned before, you're gonna have the ability to make it how you want to make it, and to get rid of all the stuff that you don't need. Like we talked, what was that, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, about like how to best use a little bit of space. Things like where you'd have tools mounted on a workbench that flips. They can flip down, and you can use it as workbench space, or you flip it back up.
Wow.
Or you have 2 different tools mounted on either side, and you can flip it upside down and have a sander. Then you flip it upside, the other way, and you have a different sander. You know, like
Uh-huh.
there's all kinds of cool little things you can do like that. I don't know if that would work for our situation, but for our particular space, I don't know. But there are, like, different things that, I think one of the big things that we're going to be doing is having everything on wheels. And from
Oh
what I
yeah.
understand, that's what was done at the old shop too. Is that right?
Yes, yes. A lot of the smaller woodworking tools, like belt sanders, and I think we had a little router. Stuff that you're doing task-oriented stuff. You're like, okay, I need this. I'm working on this, right? I don't need this, and now I need that.
Yeah.
It would make sense. Certain things are going to have to stay fixed, like the shop bot, which has to be super level and super XYZ coordinated. But other stuff, man, if it's on wheels, it'd be great.
Absolutely.
Guess we'll have to figure out the sawdust management.
Yeah, so they've already got a lot of that sorted out, how they plan to do it, at least. I think the sawdust management is going to be somewhere in this general vicinity here, if I remember right. And so, all the woodworking stuff is going to, have the different attachments going down to that. A lot of tools are going to actually be underneath those racks. You remember the big racks that I showed you? Yeah, they're leaving the bottom shelf out so that you can actually be underneath them. We've measured the lowest shelf to be approximately a 1 crux and a hat high.
That's just about right, because Cruxus is not a short fellow.
He is not. Yeah. Let's see. I can probably show that area here. Let's go ahead and try to do that. Yeah. So underneath there is where a lot of the workbenches are going to be, so that we can have storage space on the top and have workspace underneath. And we can even hang, little lights from it and all that stuff as well. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. And there's the dust collector as of right now, but that's sitting right where the Hotworks is supposed to be, so I don't think it's going to stay there. And one of the other cool things about the Hotworks, so I had sold my I had a kiln that I used myself for melting down aluminum and stuff like that and casting parts. And I had sold that to the shop a long time ago because didn't have room in my garage for it. And so one of the reasons that I put it's inside this gigantic work site job box is what it is. And it's kind of like if you think of like one of those horizontal deep freezes where you open it up and you get your deer meat out or whatever, or the frozen peas you put in there like 15 years ago. But at any rate, it's one of those at your grandma's house. It's one of those, only instead of a freezer, it's just solid steel. At any rate, that's where I had all the stuff set up. And the reason that I did it in that, because it's on casters, the reason I did it in that was because if something went wrong, I could slam the door shut and wheel it out into the street. Rather than burning the house down.
Cutting out oxygen, but you were pushing a potential serious fire risk out.
Well, out of the house that I was currently living in, yes.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Better out than in.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah. So that was part of it, because then that way, that's one of the things I like about having the Hotworks right next to that door is where I was going with all this. Because, if something does go wrong, you can just take that and right out the door.
And then in the photo that you had up is those built-ins, if you were, those go all the way to the exit, and that's how we're keeping it. So that's the right. Northern wall there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the dust collector is about 6 feet, the top of that?
Yeah, thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you can get an idea that you can totally walk under there unless you're 7.5 feet tall.
That's right. A little bit lower than that. But if you're cruxing a hat, you might rub the hat occasionally, but generally speaking, you won't bump your head.
So Abe Lincoln might lose his top hat.
Maybe. Well, wait, how tall was Abe Lincoln? I don't remember.
I think he was tall, but not as tall as people thought.
Oh, yeah?
I think he was like 6. People think he's like 6'7", but he was actually like 6'2".
Oh, okay.
I don't know. How tall is Crux?
Oh.
What's Crux in a hat?
Well, that is a good question. We should know the answer to that, but
that's why I was trying to get with the dust collector there. It's a frame of reference, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that ladder I think is maybe a 12-foot ladder at the halfway point. So 6 feet is that the?
I'll go along with that. Might be a little less. I'm not sure.
18-foot ladder. That's an 18-foot.
And then we start doing math, and then it goes all to hell.
We tried to carry the 2 last time. We saw where that went.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're good, I assure you. But yeah, that's so that's the a little bit about the shop and whatnot. Let's see. Let me go ahead and unpause that here while we're talking. But yeah, no, and that's, I guess really that was my point. Like, it's going to be really cool being able to set this up with limitations, because that is, that's something we might have to push to the post game. We got 10 minutes. One of the interesting things about making stuff is making with limitations. Yeah. A lot of times having more constraints put on you actually helps with creativity. Have you ever heard of the Oblique strategies?
No, I don't think I have. Lay it on me.
Brian Eno's Oblique strategies. Okay, so the concept is, let me see. Let me hit the Googles for it. So the point with this, it was created by Brian Eno. It was first published in 1975. Okay. And here is, this should actually work. Yeah. So the idea is, it was a deck of cards that he put together. I'll throw the link here in the chat for everybody on Twitch.
All right.
So he put together this list of cards, and the idea was that whenever you're stuck on a project, whenever you're like, I don't know what to do, you click this. Yeah, you click. Well, at the time you would draw a card, but these people have put that into a different format there, and you click on that, and you have a different strategy to use. Right? And so what that's doing is it's putting a constraint on your work. So so that kind of helps you it kind of helps force you into a kind of creativity, right? So like, if I click on this, it's going to take me to short circuit. If eating peas improves virility, shovel them into your pants.
Nice.
So now, if you take that just on on face value, that's weird. But if you think about it, like, okay, well, maybe shoveling them into your pants isn't the right idea, but maybe there's a way I can short circuit this process or something like that.
Right.
It's really neat. Like, and I think they've been added to over the years, but I think the original ones still stand on their own very well. But
this reminds me of 2 things. One, there's that quote which I think is often misattributed to Tesla or Einstein, which is necessity is the mother of invention, right? Where we need to fit into the shop, so we're going to get creative about how that's going to work. And the other thing that it reminds me of is how when you start to incorporate different types of folks with different backgrounds, either socioeconomic or racial or whatever folks come from, they look at the same problem, they're going to come up with 2 different solutions.
Yeah.
And so when we get the shop members into the space, when you got, Vegas Vic on one side, Shape Dad on the other, they have different backgrounds, and they're going to see a problem. We're like, we're not going to put in a shelf. Like, dude, we got some overhead space. And that's just the beginning of it. And then we'll be able to, from there, because it's ours, because it's our own space, because we can do what we want to it without having to worry about the landlord, because we're the landlord, I think some amazing things will come out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am super excited about like what's to come with this. I think it's going to be. Yeah. I think it was the right thing to do to move into a new location, and especially one that we own. And I think that the membership, if they can bear with us through the next few months and get stay with us until you get the construction finished, I think everyone's going to love what they see. I think it's going to be really good.
When is that going to happen? That would be a good way to kind of lead us out before the break.
Sure.
Post-game.
So my understanding is this. Now going back to the thing, you can see that there's work to be done, right?
For sure.
We've got 1, 2, 3 rooms to 4 rooms that are going to be demoed. All of this is going to be demoed, and above this as well. That's one of the other reasons why we're getting rid of that. In addition to not being up to code at all, in addition to that, it's just going to be easier to decom the whole shebang at once, because we're just basically taking from here to the rafters, gone. Good night, Irene.
Bear. Yeah.
Right. Rawr. So that's the bear. Anyway, so we're going to be taking that out. So there's work to be done. We're going to be adding in a slop sink. It is not going to be there. It's going to be over here. But we're going to be adding in a slop sink, which is going to be great because you won't have to go into the bathroom to use the slop sink anymore. That's a good thing. My point with all that is it's going to take some time, not a ton of time, but it is going to take some time to accomplish all that. My understanding is a few months, meaning, maybe 3, maybe 4, but I don't think it's going to be that long. I have heard estimates as low as 2, as high as 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is all, it's probably not even wood frame. It's probably, what do they call them? Like the aluminum frame construction.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Most likely what's holding those walls up is drywall and screws. So, which is fine. That's not saying it's rickety. It's not. But right. I don't think that tear out is going to be a big challenge. Now, in addition to that, here's something that I just found out yesterday, I think it was. The crafts area here, I cannot keep hold of the damn. There it is. This crafts area here, we're getting rid of the carpeting entirely. We're going to be replacing that because it's not good at all. So we're getting rid of the carpeting in this room. I don't remember if we're going to be doing the same in here, but we're going to be tearing down a wall, so I have a feeling it's going to get a whole new floor anyhow. So we're going to be doing that. And like it says here, we got to break up the tile. We got to remove that. So there's going to be a lot of work that gets done. So it's going to take some time, but I think it's going to be worth it. But again, like I say, I don't think it's going to take that much time. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, and certain things like if there's third parties in there that are working and they're doing demolishing work that's really dusty and at all dangerous, then no members are going to be in there. There barely any board members in there. No. But once the literal and figurative dust settles, even before we're up and running, for those that remember at the shop 2.0 over in American Pacific, we had the laser cutter set up right next to the roll-up door, which would be right under 16 on this thing. So it didn't have a permanent home, but the laser cutter is probably one of our number one most used tools. And that allowed folks to work some projects before we were in its final location. So I suspect long before we have everything finalized.
Yes.
But after we do some big initial build out, we'll start to get some tools set up like that. Yeah. Like the laser cutter.
I'm positive. Yeah. And that's definitely the direction that I'll push. And I'm pretty sure the rest of the board would agree with me that as soon as we can have people in, we're going to have people in. Like as soon as we can open up the doors, that's the plan. And again, like I say, I don't see it taking that long. I think it's going to take longer to push the permits through everywhere where they need to be pushed through than to do the actual work. Because if you call in, 5 or 6 guys can take down, most of those walls, I don't know, over the course of, at least as far as the stuff in the front, assuming that it's not structurally, assuming that it's not load bearing, right? I don't know what's in the walls. I'm not a general contractor, but I have worked construction in the past. And I don't see it taking that long to do. I mean, a couple weeks, honestly. If you monster house it, you could get it done over the course of 2 days. Bam. You remember Monster House?
I think you're right. The permits and finding contractors to do the work is what's going to be the hard part. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Well, I'll tell you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to wrap it up, that the latest and greatest updates will always be on Discord in the Shop Move channel. So if you are wondering, if you're hearing this on YouTube later, or if you're like, wait, what were they talking about? What are the details? Head over to Discord. We keep that up to date, and you can, of course, ask the folks the latest and greatest. And Pong, you were going to bring us out to the post-game show, I think?
Well, I was indeed, yes. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, number 1, welcome to Saturday. But number 2, in just a few short seconds, you're going to see me replaced by another me with lots longer sideburns, telling you that you missed the last half of the show. Hi, I'm the Mighty Pong, host of the show that you just got done watching. Hey, if you'd like to see the entire show and not just the first hour, make sure that you watch on twitch.tv/SYN Shop every Friday night for the main show, and on Monday nights we have our special project night. So you can join us, build something, and basically throw stuff at us while we try to concentrate on things. It's a lot of fun. Kind of. But hey, anyway, we hope to see you there. It's a lot of fun. So join us over there, twitch.tv/SYN Shop. I am, of course, the Mighty Pong, and we will see you there. One take. Not one take.